Welcome to Sinkowitz, hosted by the fearless Linda Sinkowitz. She's syncing you up with the latest in election integrity, from breaking headlines to critical updates you won't hear anywhere else. With Linda, it's facts first as she leads the fight for one vote for one legal voter. Stay informed, stay empowered. Let's jump in.
Hi, and welcome to Sinkowitz. I'm Linda Sinkowitz. I'm the founder and CEO of Fight Voter Fraud. Now, this week, our guest is Phani Mantravadi. He is from Check My Vote from Michigan. We're going to be talking about Arizona, Ohio, Tennessee, Washington State, Wisconsin. We have our election vocab, then we'll go to our trivia question, national news, our vote notes, which always has an additional part to the story, which we ask you to go to vote notes and read the rest of it. I have our international story. And at the end, of course, as always, is my unscripted final thoughts. So you're watching us again on OBBM Network TV, on Rumble, on YouTube. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And please make sure you like and share. Now we're going to go right to our guest, Phani. Welcome.
Thank you, Linda.
All right, so we want you to tell us what you have been doing in Michigan over the last few months.
Oh, well, thank you, Linda, for having me on today, first of all. Over the last few months, one of the biggest things that happened was I naturalized as an American citizen in December of 2025.
Yay!
Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm very happy for you.
Thank you. It's a great privilege to be an American citizen. And, I'm so honored and privileged to be an American citizen. So one of the things that really stood out for me, and this is a very important journey for me being a citizen, because 2 months prior to December, I was interviewed by the Immigration Services, which is part of the process, really. And one of the questions after the test relating to American citizenship, etc., one of the questions that was asked was, you take your oath and say, I'm going to be saying the truth and nothing but the truth, kind of thing. In the end, one of the questions was, have you ever voted in an American elections? And mind you, I'm not a citizen as yet, right? They haven't really confirmed me. So I said, obviously, no, I have not voted, which is the truth. I've never voted in American elections because I was not a citizen. Mm-hmm. But what really went through my mind was I also ensured no one else voted on my behalf, because my whole entire process would have been jeopardized if someone else had cast a ballot. And that goes back to my journey with election integrity in the year 2020, when November 3rd and the election results came out. Like, I, among millions of people, were, my jaw dropped. Like, how did this happen, right? November 4th morning, you see the declared results. That's when I grew worried. At the time, I was obviously not a citizen. So I also read some news here and there that non-citizens voted, or fictitious people voted, or people who don't exist voted, that kind of thing. Then it immediately brought to mind that, what about me? Did someone vote on my behalf? I got worried about that. So I had obtained the January 2021 voter rolls and tried to look for my name in there to see if there's any record of me voting. But fortunately, there wasn't any. But as you know, many people that I knew during that time, through the fighting COVID situation, we were like not wearing masks and opposing the mask mandates. So those people were also interested in looking up their record. They were American citizens, and they wanted to see if they voted absentee or in person, so on. So I'd look up the file and tell them, hey, it says you voted absentee, but they would tell me, oh, I voted in person. I actually went there and voted. And, so things started to come out that there were discrepancies in the record of voting history of many people. So anyway, that's just a flashback. Everything happened when I became a citizen. I was like, wow, what a journey. It's been 5 years to the month. So yeah, after that, we've just been continuing to do what we've been doing all along, just restoring accuracy to voter rolls. And the biggest results we've had in the last 2 months were that the number of duplicates in Michigan's voter rolls, we saw a very sharp decline. And I don't know if I can show my screen, but I could show the graph. It's right on my website. But
go right ahead. You want to show your... Now you have Check My Vote is your website. Check
Correct.
My Vote.
It's not just a website. I like to call it an app because it operates on data. It's not just informational. This website is where you can actually take action on identified irregularities. You can do three things from this website as a volunteer or as an external user. As an external user, you could search for your address and see who's registered to vote from there. And if many times people find others who shouldn't be, and you can report them. That's the interactive aspect of the website. And when people report that, it gets routed to a local county lead who actually engages with the clerk through MCL 168.512, which is a challenge process in Michigan, and tries to get that removed from the voter rolls. So that's the one side of things. But we also have a sign in. If people feel led to do more than just check their own address, let's say they want to check their township precinct and work at their entire locality area, like check out who's registered to vote from the local cemetery, for example. We find people registered to vote from there too. So they can do that as a volunteer and they sign up and do other kind of stuff. But we also have what we call the monthly dashboard of the problems that were found. I'll make this a little bigger. But duplicates, as I was saying, was the area where we have the most results in the last 2 months. And month after month, I track the number of duplicates. Like the criterion for a duplicate is same first name, different last name, same address, same year of birth. In other states where we have the full date of birth, we use the full date of birth. It's a more perfect match when you're using full date of birth. But year of birth gives you a little kind of fuzzy, but still you find married maidens a lot, meaning someone who has changed their last name. You probably know what I'm talking about, at the same address.
Absolutely.
Right? So those are the big ones. And you also find swapped names, Bob Jones and Jones Bob. I'm just taking an example. There's no Bob Jones, but yeah, those kind of inverse names. So these are the only two criteria used. And we have a graph, as you see, from January 2024. We didn't see much results through that year, but we've kept the pressure on by sending these duplicates to all 83 county clerks every month, and see how the drop started sometime in April 2025. And now we have had the biggest drop from October 2025. 14,000 duplicates became 8,119. And now we have 7,493 as of December. As of January, it is 7,060. Just this morning, I got the February voter roll. So I'm going to be processing it today. You'll see another little bar here. Hopefully it's smaller than the January one. So we track our results here using this process. And that's only just the duplicates. There's a whole lot of other metrics. Age 100 plus. You see this graph again is tapering down, but every January there's a tower that goes up, which is because we only have the year of birth. So as soon as January rolls around, as you can see, 2025 January, the tower kind of spiked up. Many people tend to think they added a bunch of 100 plus age people in the voter rolls. And as of January 26, again, they added a bunch of them. No, that's an important clarification I need to make. These people were not added. It is just that all these extra people you see, not all, but many of them have come of 100 years age as of January 2026, because now my program is picking up all the people that are born in 1926, because we only get the year of birth. So every year you see a jump because it's picking up all the people who are born in that year. So that's a little nuance here. But then overall, you see like the thing is tapering down because our volunteers research how many people have passed away and are still there on the voter rolls, and potentially ballots being cast on their name. So that's another anomaly. There are a few others here people work on: blank apartment unit, non-residential addresses, out-of-state moves. We also have seen a bit of a good result here, but again, this goes up and down. People move and they're still there, but that is what I have to share with regards to results.
And that's for Michigan.
That's
but you
for
also have you also have other states on Check My Vote?
That is correct. Thank you. So we have 5 states on Check My Vote. Michigan is what we were seeing, and Ohio we are live. West Virginia, recently we got live there. They're also working on duplicates. Tennessee we are live. Rhode Island, just more recently we have Rhode Island. I was in Massachusetts over there actually just 2 months ago, inaugurating or opening up Rhode Island and launching it.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, you are doing such a great service for the people. So before we go, I want you to tell people what Jocelyn Benson, your Secretary of State, has been trying to do to you.
Yeah, thank you. So in September of 2025, what happened was one of our volunteers, as they were researching all the bills and the rule sets that are in the in the process of being approved or whatnot, first of all, Jocelyn Benson likes to circumvent the legislature. So there's not many bills that we end up looking at. We end up looking at rule sets, as we call them. She just makes up rules and circumvents the legislature and gets them approved by this Joint Committee of Administrative Rules, JCAR. And that meets once every month on the first Tuesday of every month. So today is the meeting, actually. As we are talking here, that meeting is going on specifically about a rule set named Rule Set ST13. And this rule set specifically was the draft version at the time in September, essentially named 3 websites that are essentially banned as labeled as unreliable sources of information. First one was checkmyvote.org. Second one, Find a Grave, which is our volunteers use that to find who's deceased. And the ancestry.com was the third one, where we try to find married last name. If you have 2 people with a different last name with the same address, our volunteers do due diligence to not just take that and just slam it at a clerk. We go do some research.
Right.
And, many a time ancestry will tell us that this person married, in this year, and then the last name changed to this. Is kind of a little history of their, name change, whatever. So that is also another printout we take as a substantiation document along with our challenge. So we're alleviating clerks' work. We're really helping the clerks to, be more efficient at their job and be more effective at their job, because we know they are very overwhelmed with the amount of work they have. And we also we abide with the EAC's best practices guidelines in Appendix L2. It essentially says local clerks, elected officials can use third-party or community organizations and third-party websites to aid in clearing voter rolls or making them accurate. So those are all there, but in a complete about face with that guidance, our Secretary of State says essentially ban this website. Do not use making challenge process difficult. Do not cooperate with any volunteers. It's the exact opposite of what the EAC says. The guidelines, and the rule set essentially was put in draft. 1,300 people from across Michigan submitted public comment before the deadline of that rule set. None of them supported the rule set. Everybody supported Check My Vote. And I know that number because we made a FOIA request. Pat Colbeck in Michigan made a FOIA request paying $8,000 to get the documentation and all governmental communications surrounding the rule set and how it was made and how Check My Vote was banned. And we received 455 pages of FOIA documents with few redactions here and there. But in one of those emails, one of the governmental officials says they're actually expressing concern over this whole thing, that the public pressure is such that people are not liking this rule set. So in one of the emails, it is said 1,300 people delivered public comments. How are we going to address this? And some other person replies saying, well, we can just strike out Check My Vote from the named websites to be as unreliable, and we can just call it any third-party website, which is actually, in my opinion, even more dangerous, because now not only Check My Vote, but any other organization is also considered as an unreliable source. So, which is very concerning, and it hasn't gone into effect yet. They're sitting today in the meeting, and in Michigan, the rules are so horrible that if there is no quorum today for this meeting, the rule automatically passes. It's the exact opposite of how meetings should be. If there's no quorum, you adjourn and you say, well, we're going to come back when there's a quorum, and then we're going to take a vote.
Right. No and Jocelyn Benson is also running for governor as well.
Yes.
She also refuses to turn over the information to the Department of Justice. So we know she's hiding a lot. And here, your organization and Check My Vote is helping the election officials find the issues that are in there. And she's trying to ban now everybody who wants to point out that there's issues, which is just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Right. 100%. She's cutting the citizenry out of the equation, and it is the citizens who elected, or supposedly citizens elect these elected officials. They're supposed to be answering to the citizens, not cut them out of the process and chop away at transparency, because we also have been facing many hurdles with data fields not being given to me, because problems get exposed and they say, okay, we're not going to give you this data field anymore. So it's like the entire voter file. There's some columns that we find problems with, like the method of voting I just was talking about earlier with someone. the absentee versus in person. Now I no longer get that field because a lot of people went to the clerks and said, well, I voted in person. Why does it say absentee? Instead of answering that question, they have removed the field from disclosure. So there's a court case that I have in the Court of Appeals for that. It's been in the books for 2 years now. Hopefully waiting for a judgment on that. So
do you have any state reps or, Senate people who are able to help you out, able to assist? I mean, have you been able to bring it to their attention on everything that's going on?
yes, we have a great house here. We have a house majority. Our pro tempore speaker, Rep. Rochelle Smith, and they are constantly, and in fact, she has been filing for the election manuals to be disclosed by Justin Benson,
Mhm.
but she even filed a subpoena on Jocelyn Benson, but Jocelyn Benson is willing to violate a subpoena over release of election manuals. Now think about that. Election manuals do not have any personally identifiable information. They're manuals, and she's not willing
Mhm.
to release those manuals to our pro tempore speaker. And she has a great team. Some people, there are a bunch of senators and congressmen that are totally on our side here. They understand the problem, but the real problem is Jocelyn Benson circumvents the legislature, that she does not go through the legislature, so they don't have much of a way to handle this, because she directly goes to the rules committee and just creates these rules willy-nilly. So even though our House Republicans are great, some of them, they are not able to do much.
Right. They throw up all the hurdles and everything else. So Michigan has a huge red flag with election information that needs to be looked into. So I'm hoping the DOJ is actually going to be taking steps against them as well. Well, I want to thank you so much, Phani, for coming on. Your website is checkmyvote.com.
No, it's .org.
.org. Checkmyvote.org. So everyone, please go to his website. Thank you so much for being on, Phani, and talk to you soon.
Thank you, Linda.
Thanks. We're going to go to a quick break and we'll be right back.
At Fight Voter Fraud, we work to ensure every legal vote is counted, and no unlawful vote ever diminishes the voice of we the people. We're fighting for you in courtrooms and communities nationwide to protect transparency, accountability, and fairness in every election. Our mission is simple: one vote for one legal voter. This is our country. This is our vote. Let's protect it together.
Hi, I'm Linda Sinkowitz. I'm the founder and CEO of Fight Voter Fraud. I'm very excited to announce Operation Verify Voters 2026. This is where everyone can get involved. Every single person can get involved in helping make sure we have transparent and clean elections. The most important thing is cleaning the voter rolls. Who knows better than you on your street? You know when people have sold their homes. You know when people moved. You know when other people have passed away. Those are people we need to make sure are no longer on the voter rolls. And it's really easy to do. We can help you. What we're going to be doing is setting up training sessions that you sign up for, and we will walk you through the process. It's simple, it's easy, and everyone can get involved. So you're going to go to fightvoterfraud.org or scan the QR code, and it'll bring you right to our Operation Verify Voters 2026. And our goal is to get every single state involved in this initiative. Everyone can make a difference. Thank you. Hi, and welcome back to Sinkowitz. That was Phani. He is absolutely fabulous. We definitely want people to go to checkmyvote.org. And as always, Michigan is a huge, huge issue for, I guess you can use the phrase, election integrity. Big issues there. So we're going to go, our first state is Arizona. And this is from Arizona, ABC 15 on January 28th. Proposed ballot measure would mean big changes for Maricopa County voters. Lawmakers are trying again after Governor Katie Hobbs vetoed a similar bill last year. So, this is out of Phoenix. A Republican lawmaker is again trying to bar counties from allowing polling locations open to any county voter, but this time voters will have the ultimate say. Last year, Katie Hobbs had vetoed State Representative Rachel Keshel's bill to ban voting centers and require counties to conduct precinct voting. This legislative session, Keshel introduced the measure as a ballot measure, which can't be vetoed. Well, that's a good thing. First of all, you need to know that there's 15 counties in Arizona. Pima County and Maricopa County handle their own elections. They have their own sets of rules that they go by. And what they're talking about is in those particular counties, I'm not sure if it's all of them. I know in Yavapai they can't do this, but they can vote anywhere they want in any polling station they want. You know how most of us have a specific location that's in your precinct or your district that you need to go to because the people are more familiar with you because you're within that community. Well, in Maricopa County, Arizona, you can go into any place you want, which personally I think is absolutely insane. So anyway, they are looking to have it so that is under a precinct model. And also this bill, HCR 2016, would also ban in-person early voting because they have a quite a long period of time, I guess, for their early voting, which really, I mean, everybody knows where I stand. It should be same day, in person, no early voting. I mean, absentees, only very specific people should be able to get them, including our military and some of the affirmed. And that's pretty much it. I mean, except for other extenuating circumstances. So at least they are trying to push that in Arizona to get a little more realistic. Now we're going to go on to Ohio. This is from NBC4 on January 29th. Ohio lawmaker proposes making Election Day a state holiday. I think that's a fantastic idea. So an Ohio lawmaker is hoping to draw more voters to the polls by making Election Day a state holiday. Senator Ken Smith, he's a Democrat from Euclid, introduced Senate Bill 335 in December. The legislation would designate the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November or the day U.S. elections are held as, quote, Democracy Day, unquote. The goal of the legislation is to help eliminate employment-related pressures that might prevent people from being able to vote. And one of the ways we can do that is by making Election Day a holiday, Smith said. Ohio government employees, including public school staff and state court workers, are generally entitled to paid time off on all officially recognized state holidays. Private employers are not required to provide time off for these holidays, but often choose to. So he believes that this Election Day holiday is more relevant now than it's ever been because of the recently passed law that has argued makes it more difficult to vote. In December, Governor Mike DeWine signed the bill requiring absentee ballots to be received by Board of Elections by the time polls close on Election Day, eliminating that 4-day grace period. Yay to the governor of Ohio. The new law provides exceptions for military and overseas ballots. Now, I got to tell you, I mean, I think it's a great idea, but as always, they're complaining because they want to be able to receive, absentee ballots. I mean, how many weeks after the election do they want them in some states? I mean, it's crazy. It should be by the close of the polls on Election Day that they need to be received by. even if they're postmarked and they come in the next day. I'm sorry. If it's that important, which it should be, for you to vote, make sure you get your ballot in early. Don't rely on the U.S. Postal Service because they are also not guaranteeing you're going to get it. So how about, if you're able to, you vote in person on Election Day? We should all be celebrating Election Day. I don't care what party you're from. We should all be celebrating the fact that we can vote and our voices can be heard. Okay. Not that I'm throwing any of my opinions in right now. All right. So now we're going to go on to Tennessee. Tennessee lookout from January 26th. Tennessee senator proposes a local election move to state and federal date. A Tennessee Republican senator is proposing a constitutional amendment to shift local election dates to match federal elections. Senator Farrell Hale of Gallatin is sponsoring Senate Joint Resolution 5151, which would place local government elections on the same day as federal and state ones in an effort to save money and increase voter participation, according to the resolution. House Majority Leader William LaBerth is sponsoring the House version with HJR 729. I think that is a fantastic idea. It says here, for instance, in Senate District 18 primary for the seat representing Sumner and Truesdale counties, the primary between him and Chris Spencer, a former Henderson alderman and co-founder of the Sumner County Constitutional Republicans, and Hale created significant conversation, but failed to draw large numbers of voters to the polls in August of 2024. And of course, well, actually this time, the Tennessee League of Women Voters isn't taking a position on the matter until they can study it. Well, you know they're going to be against it. I mean, if it's something positive, the League of Women Voters everywhere is like, nope, anything good for elections is not something they're going to support. I'm just predicting that. Again, it's my own personal opinion. Oops, again, I forgot. I'm supposed to wait to the end to put my personal opinions in there. Now we're going to go on to Washington State. This is from Washington State Standard on January 29th of 2026. Stung by a court ruling, Washington looks to clarify what is an election. I had to read that a couple of times, and I'm like, what does they mean? Nobody knows what an election is? Well, they don't. It may seem obvious that a registered voter in Washington can only vote once in an election. It's not. Remember, it's also the left coast that we're talking about right now. Last month, a state appeals court overturned the felony conviction of a Lewis County resident found guilty of voting twice in November 2022, once in Washington State and once in Oregon. A 2-1 decision, the court concluded that because there were no overlapping candidates or issues on the two ballots, these were separate elections. An election, they reasoned, refers to a choice among a specific slate of candidates or propositions and not the process of voting on a particular day. Oh my God. Lewis County prosecutors will ask the Washington Supreme Court to review the decision. I mean, this is nuts. Everybody knows you can only vote where you live. Obviously, there are laws that are not being passed, and it does need to go to the Washington Supreme Court. But that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Unbelievable. I don't know. I'm not even going to read the rest of this because that's ridiculous. You only vote once. Once. That's it. Now we're going to go on to Wisconsin. This is from America First Policy Institute from January 27th. Court dismisses lawsuit against Wisconsin town over paper ballots. Remember paper ballots? Yay. Madison, Wisconsin. A Wisconsin judge has dismissed a lawsuit aimed at stopping a small town from using hand-counted paper ballots, a win for election integrity and the right of local communities to run their elections as they see fit. Love this, that their town actually wants to have paper ballots and hand counting. No machines. We don't want machines. Get rid of machines. Okay, the case Webster versus Shealy challenged the town of Thornapple's 2023 decision to stop using electronic voting machines and return to traditional paper ballots. But on December 30th, 2025, a Judge Jacob Frost of the Dane County Circuit Court dismissed the lawsuit, stating, "I do not get to set aside Wisconsin law because Ms. Webster's believes that the choice to allow paper ballots was a poor choice by the legislature." The America First Policy Institute, AFPI, litigation team represented Thornapple in the case. "This is a huge win for common sense," says Nicholas Wanak, the AFPI attorney who argued the case. "State law clearly says towns like Thornapple can use paper ballots." That's what they did, and the court affirmed both their decision and their right to make it. So the Wisconsin Elections Commission has already reviewed the matter in 2025, and they found no wrongdoing. The Thornapple population of under 1,000 held two successful elections using hand-counted ballots in 2024. The hand-marked paper ballots are the gold standard for transparency, security, and public trust, said Kenneth Blackwell, chair of election integrity at AFPI and former Ohio Secretary of State. Quote, "When voters can see the process with their own eyes, without black box machines, they have more confidence in the results. This ruling is a victory for Thornapple and every town that wants to run honest, auditable elections," unquote. Now, AFPI's litigation team has been active in Wisconsin and across the country, defending the use of paper ballots and the right of local officials to implement systems that increase transparency and voter confidence. Yay! Yay, we have something really positive that came out of Wisconsin. 1 out of 100 isn't bad. They're getting there. At least we got one. Now we're going to go into our election term of the week. And this is from Baltimore, February 1st, 2026. The word is campaign manager, a person chosen by a candidate to oversee all aspects of a political campaign. They develop strategies that acquire and maintain efficient staffing, fundraising, analysis of polling data, and media promotion with the goal of promoting the candidate to gain political office during an election period. Okay. Our trivia question of the week. In 1948, U.S. presidential election, Strom Thurmond won 4 southern states, running under a party whose members were also known as what, quote, crats, unquote. It's a common nickname for the American South, perhaps derived from one of the surveyors of the Mason-Dixon line. So while you're thinking about that, we're going to go to a quick break and we'll be right back.
We need your help to ensure one vote for one legal voter. Join Fight Voter Fraud. Request training, get the potential double-registered, double voter data for your town, and donate to support the fight. Visit fightvoterfraud.org, because election integrity starts with you.
Hi, I'm Linda Sinkowitz. I'm the founder and CEO of Fight Voter Fraud. We are launching Operation Verify Voters 2026, and we want to get everyone involved in every single state because you can make a difference. We will be able to train you. It doesn't take that long for the training. It's very, very simple because you know the people on your street, in your neighborhood who have moved or died. We want to make sure that the voter rolls are clean. We're going to show you how to do it. Go to our website, fightvoterfraud.org, or scan the QR code and we'll show you how. Thank you. Hi, and welcome back to Sinkowitz. I'm Linda Sinkowitz. You're watching us on OBBM Network TV, Rumble, YouTube. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, where I left you off before the break was our trivia question. And our trivia question of the week. In the 1948 U.S. presidential election, Strom Thurmond won 4 southern states, running under a party whose members were also known as what, quote, cracks, unquote. It's a common nickname for the American South, perhaps derived from one of the surveyors of the Mason-Dixon line. The answer is Dixie, Dixiecrats. That's the party he ran under. Okay, so now we're going to go to our national news. National news, this is from the House Republicans unveil election reform bill. It's from The Hill on January 29th. House Republicans unveil election reform bill dubbed Make Elections Great Again Act. The House Republicans unveiled a sweeping elections reform bill on Thursday that would mandate long-sought requirements like presenting photo ID when voting and citizenship verification in order to register to vote. Dubbed the Make Elections Great Again Act, the bill is led by House Administrative Committee Chair Brian Steele. He's a representative from Wisconsin. And it marks an evolution of election reform legislation that House Republicans have crafted in previous Congresses, such as the American Confidence in Elections Act. Now, quote, Americans should be confident their elections are being run with integrity, including common sense voter ID requirements, clean voter rolls, and citizenship verification, unquote. Steele said in a statement, these reforms will improve voter confidence, bolster election integrity, and make it easy to vote and hard to cheat. So there's a whole bunch more that goes into this particular bill, and I would suggest people go to The Hill and read the article. It's something that all Americans, all patriots, all people that believe in our country should be supporting. Vote notes. This is our next section. This is from the Georgia Recorder, and it's from January 28th, 2026. Now, I got to tell you, I really wanted to find a really good article that encompassed everything that was happening in Georgia, in Fulton County, with the FBI, and they're going in and actually getting the ballots and all the information from the 2020 election. I cannot tell you how difficult that was to find. Extremely difficult to find. There were so many left-leaning articles, it would make you sick to even see what their headlines were. So I did find one that I thought was appropriate, where I didn't have to take a Tums when I was reading it. This one here again is from the Georgia Recorder, January 28th. FBI raids Fulton County elections warehouse seeking 2020 ballots. This is from Atlanta. Officials from the Federal Bureau of Investigation raided the Fulton County elections warehouse Wednesday. I love how, they raided it. They actually had the legal right to go in and remove the documents, because a court order that was signed by Magistrate Judge Catherine M. Salinas authorized agents to seize all physical ballots from the 2020 election in Fulton County, all ballot images, and Fulton County's 2020 voter rolls. A copy of the order was given to the recorder by a House lawmaker. Quote, we are aware of the ongoing law enforcement activity involving the FBI at Fulton County Warehouse, unquote, said Kaya Leventhal Moore, the executive assistant of the Fulton County Clerk Shay Alexander. At this time, we are only aware of the activities surrounding the warehouse location. Officials at the FBI's field office in Atlanta did not respond to requests for comment. They don't need to comment. So, I mean, this is a story. Please go to our website and click on vote notes so you can read the rest of the story. It's pretty long, but it's worth reading. And one thing I should point out that is extremely important. Why did Georgia, Fulton County, still have the 2020 information? Because the federal law says after 22 months, they can destroy it. But in the case of Georgia, Fulton County, when anything legal has been submitted, they have to retain it. So as you can see, this is 2026. See how long it has taken to be able to get that information, the information they wanted to destroy in Fulton County. We already know from testimony back a few weeks ago about the 315,000 ballots that never should have been counted and a whole bunch of other anomalies. And basically, the Georgia Secretary of State is basically saying everything is fine. The Fulton County election administrator, everything is fine. Nothing to see here. Yeah, I don't think so. So please go to vote notes on our website and read the rest of the story. And again, it was excruciating trying to find a story that pretty much gave facts without leaning so far to the left that you do a somersault. Okay. Now our other segment is international news. International news. This is from ABC on January 29th. Now, Costa Ricans support Chavez, successor in the presidential election as crime remains high. Now, that's one of the things you're always going to see with Costa Rica right now because their crime is like wicked high. But the Costa Ricans appear ready to vote to continue supporting the program of outgoing President Rodrigo Chavez in Sunday's presidential election. Despite Costa Rica's high homicide rates occurring under outgoing President Rodrigo Chavez, Costa Ricans appear poised to throw their support behind his hand-picked successor, Laura Fernandez, in Sunday's presidential election to continue Chavez's efforts to tackle crime. Now, again, this is a story that goes into their crime and everything else that's going on. Now, we know as of the taping of our program, she won. She had to win at least 40% of the vote in order to not to have another runoff. So she is now the president-elect, Fernandez, and she wound up getting 48.3% of the vote. And that's when 96.7% of the votes had already come in. So she surpassed the 40% mark that she had to surpass. And when she's sworn in, she will have a 4-year term. And one of the other significant things that is going on in Costa Rica right now is that they have the drug cartels. They have all the issues that a lot of the South American countries have had. But like El Salvador, where they built this maximum security prison, where the president of El Salvador has gotten rid of the cartel and a number of other horrible people and thrown them into prison. Costa Rica just broke ground for their same type of prison. So they really needed to have Fernandez be elected president in order to actually do something about the corruption and all the issues that they are having in Costa Rica. So we'll keep an eye on that. And also another law in Costa Rica is they can only serve the 4-year term. They have to wait. Anybody who's been president of Costa Rica has to wait 8 years out of office before they can run again. So Chavez will not be in there for at least 12 years if he continues that. Okay, so that was our international news. Now is my favorite part of the program, which is my final thoughts. As I've shown you before, I don't write anything as far as what my final thoughts are going to be. So sometimes you hear me talk about stuff and give you my personal opinion. More people, I believe, are waking up to the fact that we absolutely need to have paper ballots, in-person voting, and same-day voting. We really need to do this. We really need to make sure our elections are secure and they're transparent and our voter rolls themselves are what they're supposed to be. But as I've been saying right along, they're not. They're a disaster. And anytime you see a state that refuses to comply with the Department of Justice and turning over the voter rolls, red flags should go up. Think about this. I talked about this last week. The government is not going to build a website so they can, get your social security number and do something nefarious against you. They already have your social security number. They don't care. And the voter rolls is only going to show the last 4 digits. All they're trying to do is get a snapshot of what is going on. So what we're doing here at Fight Voter Fraud is we have launched Operation Verify Voters 2026. We need to get every single voter involved across the country. Go to our website, sign up for our class. We'll show you what you need to look for. You need to take responsibility within your own community on what is going on with the voter rolls. Now, until we get rid of the machines, which is still a huge problem, we at least need to have clean voter rolls. And we need to be diligent about this. There are tons and tons of illegals that are still registered, especially in the blue states, because they refuse to remove them. And I'll tell you, your Secretary of State does have the ability to contact the federal government for free, and they will give them a list of who the illegals are that are on the voter rolls, and they can take them off. So again, anytime that they are doing the pushback, like, oh my God, they're doing this because they want to take away our rights. I just looked and I don't have my tissue box here. Oh my goodness, this is the first time I don't have my tissue box on the table. Because it would definitely be a double tissue for those people. But this is what you can do. It's not up to somebody else. Stop saying, well, somebody else will take care of it, or I don't have the time. Do you have 5 minutes to go and check to make sure your voter roll, your name on the voter rolls is accurate? That they have your proper name, your proper address, your proper date of birth, and especially your proper registration, whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, independent, unaffiliated, Green Party, communist, socialist, etc., whatever it is. Because I'll tell you, you'll be surprised that it's not always accurate. And anybody who has moved, again, it is your responsibility, not anybody else's, to remove you from the voter rolls from where you used to live. You also need to make sure, even if it's within the same city or the same state, you need to make sure your registrar of voters or your election officials are aware that you have moved. Because voting from an address where you don't live, even though you moved to a new address, is illegal. Okay? We're trying to help you out here. The ones that don't want to do anything or you couldn't be bothered. Well, what you also need to do is make sure you check to see anybody you know who's passed away, whether they have been removed from the voter rolls. These are very simple little things that you can do. And for those election officials that keep people who have passed away on the voter rolls, and I moved them to inactive, they're dead. They're supposed to be off. It's the law to immediately remove them. And for some of you who want to go through the training, which we would really love to do, go to our website. We have all different training dates. We'll train groups, we'll train individuals. We really want to help, and we will hold your hand. We will show you how to do the challenges. We want to make sure the voter rolls are clean. Beginning of the program, you heard our guest, Phani, talking about before he became a U.S. citizen, his biggest fear was that somebody was going to register him and vote in his name. Because if that happened, you know what? He'd never be able to become a U.S. citizen. There is no recourse because there would be no proof for him to say it wasn't him who did it. And trust me, this is going on in multiple towns, in cities, in states across the United States. So I know we harp on this all the time, but we need to clean the voter rolls. We need to get rid of the machines, the manipulation in the machines. We can do hand counts, paper ballots and hand counts. As a matter of fact, my guest next week is going to be Mark Cook. He'll even talk about how easy it is to do the paper ballot hand counts. Well, again, I want to thank everyone for listening to our program, Sinkowitz. What we want to be able to do is educate you on different election things across the country and now around the world. We appreciate any comments, any suggestions for any stories that we talk about here. So again, thank you for watching us on OBBM Network TV, Rumble, YouTube. Please like and share. We want to get the information out there. Thank you again for listening.